Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 306, and today we're going to be doing battle with Aurelion Sol Ramp. And so the Aurelion Sol Ramp deck, it's one of my classic favorites. I loved it so much. I'll keep the amount of salt about the Targon's Peak nerf to a minimum, and we'll just try and focus on what we have access to these days. But this is a deck I'm surprised it hasn't really made more of an impact in the current meta. We aren't seeing this ultra aggressive meta like Pirates I haven't seen in a long time. The Noxus, Gnar, Tristana decks running around a bit, but the full-on onslaught of aggro isn't really running around. And so as I look over here, this has been a traditionally bad match for us against Ezreal. So with that being there, and it looks also like a bad matchup against Ryze, maybe that's what's keeping it in check. But I feel like those are strategies that you can kind of counteract. And so the reason we say things like this is if you want to think of the common strategies and what this deck is really trying to do, is you take a look at its ramp cards, right? We do have the new addition here in Wild Mysticism. And so the thing you are able to chain off here with both the Wild Mysticism and the Catalyst of the Aeons is that on turn 3, we'll have played nothing. We'll have 3 spell mana banked up, and we can now either Catalyst or Wild Mysticism. Now on our turn 4, we have 5 mana crystals. We can play another ramp card. That will take us up to 6. Then as we roll into the next turn, we'll have 7 mana crystals and 1 banked, and so then we can play Voices of the Old Ones. And so this is a very big chain of ramp that you can pull off, get you up to that maximum mana crystals as fast as possible. Now, as you can imagine, on the downside, we haven't done fuck all to the board, right? We've just come out and generate mana crystals. So the deck does tend to do pretty poorly against the aggro decks of the world, because as you can imagine, as your opponent's just dropping a bunch of Legion rearguards on the board, we're doing nothing to stop them, then they're definitely going to have the advantage there. But what if we start to think about that space to where our opponents aren't playing aggro? They're playing some fair, mid-rangey style deck like Elites. And then if we're just out here ramping up against that, then great. You know, there's not a ton that they can do to stop us. As we drop a turn 6 Aurelion Sol, they don't have any great means to get around it. And so this is a deck that really preys on mid-game style strategies. Typically what we see out of, say, a deck like Nora, right? That's a deck that's not particularly aggressive. It's just kind of dirtling around, trying to outgrind you with a bunch of portals. And you say, okay, you've dropped some portals. That's great. You get your 2 and 3 cost units. I'll come out here with Feel the Rush. And it tends to be a pretty powerful space there. And so we'll see how much of this we can pull off. We're just going to come out here and try and have a little bit of fun today. And so I've gone ultra greed mode with this in terms of our late game plays. We're going to be playing 2 copies of Buried in Ice, 3 Feel the Rush, 3 She Who Wanders, along with the 2 It That Stares. We also have 1 copy of the Howling Abyss to do a little bit more funsy champion generation. And otherwise, it's mainly just ramp. We haven't included too much interactivity. We're just counting on the power level of our deck to kind of carry us through these games. A couple of notes I will make before we come into the games are we are playing both Targon's Peak, Howling Abyss, and the Divergent Paths. I do kind of like the idea of this utility mix included with the Divergent Paths, getting us a little bit of extra access to the Howling Abyss. And so that's kind of angle A here. Angle B is I'm curious how often we're just going to blow up our own landmarks with It That Stares. There is a lot of reason to not play Buried in the Ice and not play It That Stares these days. Having It That Stares blow up our own landmarks is typically bad, but I will concede there are times you do want to get your Targon's Peak off of the board, and this is an additional way to go about it. And so we'll see how those numbers pan out. And then otherwise, we aren't playing Blighted Ravine. The idea was, as we're using Divergent Paths, we never want to hit a Blighted Ravine with the Divergent Paths, and so we're sticking to the 3 copies of Avalanche, 0 copies of the Landmark. And so that's the deck. That's what we'll be doing battle with today, and let's go ahead and jump on in. I'm just going to queue into the normals today. I feel like with the new cards coming out here in the upcoming days, to the best of my knowledge, they're coming out. I just wanted to come out here and have a little bit of funsies, you know, and just focus on the cool stuff and not so much the not so much the ultra competitive scene. So a bit awkward. This is kind of cool, kind of bad, right? We are up against Fiora. Fiora has to be, you know, really upset going against our deck. We can really kind of shape this to where we don't have too many real units onto the board, right? We're not playing Faces of the Old Ones, so we don't have to worry about Fiora coming down and picking on that. But on the flip side, we have a real turd of a draw here. So we'll have to see if we can't overcome the Fiora, even though our draw is so bad. And oh shit, Catalyst just turns right up, huh? All right, gimme them crystals. This is going to be a pretty big ramp set as we get to the Targon's Peak on turn 6. But this is, exactly what I was talking about in the sense that if you're up against a mid-rangey kind of strategy, they don't have the speed to really stop you. Like as we go into the next turn, he's going to hit us for 4 damage. Okay, we're going to drop Targon's Peak and see how it goes. And it's a very real strength that we can get if we hit this, right slice of the meta. And so with that Avalanche, I just wanted to go ahead and get it out of our hand. As we are coming down, trying to hit on the Targon's Peak, I don't want to hit one of those weaker cards. And so opponent's going big. He just went ham with this Fiora. Not what I was expecting, but let's see what happens now. Let's see what gets real. What a fucking disaster. Hitting the Catalyst of the Aeons. It's not a full-on disaster, but I think we can all agree that that's pretty lame. I think we can all agree on that. But let's get some of this expensive stuff out of our hand. We should be pretty safe against Fiora at this point. We just healed ourselves back up to 20. She hasn't done any strikes, so we don't really care about that. And then we do have the 3 sisters in hand to generate flash freezes and take her down to 0 attack if we need to. So hopefully we get a little bit better peak this time. Nope. Why would we expect to do something like that? Who would have thought we were going to get a better peak? Ugh. Gross. So now I don't even really want to play any cards this turn, right? I want to go into next turn with a 3-bank so we can feel the rush. And I'm just not able to do anything if we're going to take that path. What a bummer, Targon's Peak. Too much RNG, isn't that right, Riot? Too much RNG. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and drop in Aurelion Sol. If we're going to feel the rush, I don't want to feel the rush our 0-cost copy of Aurelion Sol. And so we'll lead in with the... We'll lead in with the 0-coster. Now, if we spike the Aurelion Sol out of our hand, it's not going to... we're going to have that second one we can play. Now, here's the real question. Do we just go for the OTK or just attack with Fiora? And I'm going to take this one a little slow. Like, this would have been a real problem, right? He just hits with the single combat. And I feel like we can just supernova this Fiora next turn. And so, if we had attacked with our Aurelion Sols here, we would have been in a real bind. Now that our dragons should get to flip, all of our Celestials should be free, I think we're in a much better spot. We got the emotes for this. There you go. Got to drop a little laser kitty in here when we got the double Aurelion Sol. A real Shitsville hit on our... Man, our RNG this game has just been abysmal. We hit the... we hit a 0-coster in the Messenger, and then our Targon's Peak for the round hit the Kindly Tavern Keeper. That's a bit of a bummer, if you ask me. Alright, well, let's do this. I'm going to keep the Messenger in hand. Oh, we don't have the mana for the She Who Wanders. Okay. I was going to say, well, I want to just She Who Wanders away the Fiora since she has 0 attack, but not quite able to do it. All right. Opponent says, that's too much, Bust. That's too much. Get your Aurelion Sols out of here. And glad we got that one out of the way. Now as we come out here and just faced a bunch of Legion rearguards and get smashed every game. We at least got one good one on the books. But that game, it illustrated my disdain so much when they brought forth the nerf to Targon's Peak. If you're not familiar with the era, it was right around when Seraphine came out. And so Seraphine comes out, has the 2 mana card generation. Fan club president is running rampant across the meta. And then they say, oh, no, this RNG is okay. All of these cards that we just made that are just generating a bunch of stuff, that's completely fine. But if you want to be playing Targon's Peak, that's a little bit too much. This is just like, this is absurd. Come on, Riot. Come on, Riot. This is just dumb. But we made it through. We got there at the end of the day. So here with this, we didn't play Zoe on the first turn. I don't really like just running out Zoes because we don't really want the star charts. Zoe is here for the most part to either be a blocker in the early game against pirates, or B, we're going to summon a 10/10 elusive, right? We do work with Zoe a little bit, but this isn't like, hey, let's get Zoe down and start grinding a whole bunch, unless our hand is just trash. And so as we look at this hand and we have the double Catalyst of the Aeons Targon's Peak, I don't want to be hitting Zoe with our Targon's Peak. And so with the star chart, at least we might be able to get it out of hand relatively quickly. But if we just leave Zoe in hand, she's just kind of stuck there forever. So let's see what the star chart can do. All right, bring your damages in, my friend. Here we go. Getting all the ramps. Say F off, Ryze. we got all the goods going on out here. I'm curious if we can't blow up all of his Ryze landmarks. Say F you, dude. Nobody wants to play against these stupid cards. Alright, Zoe coming in, eats a Steel Tempest, that's okay. I was hoping to get the star chart down to 1 mana, but unable to do so. Not that bad, it's not that big of a deal. He hits spell mana, that's fine. Here comes the peak. Strap on the RNG brutes, bro. We're about to have some fun. About to have some fun. What'd we hit? What'd we hit? Howling Abyss, alright. We can work with that. Get some of this stuff out of here. I'm kind of curious if we'll get the kindly Tavern Keeper down before he attacks, and if we'll be able to Harsh Winds down the Master Yi. I wouldn't be opposed to that. R.I.P. Zoe, not that big of a deal. Alright, we're getting close. Let's see if he's scared. You scared, bro? Coming after your Master Yi? I almost wonder if we should just leave him on the board as he tries to summon the World Runes and just has a bunch of garbage on. Nah. Nah. So one thing you do have to kind of worry about against this dumb deck is they play Homecoming, and Homecoming can return landmarks back to hand, and so there's no guarantees that this Targon's Peak is going to be hanging out on the board for a while. We'll see. This would be a spot to where Homecoming off Master Yi onto the Targon's Peak isn't too crazy. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. Sure. Same deal with Unworthy Soul. That returns a landmark to hand. But he says, I'm willing to roll the dice. Master Yi, way too important for my plans. Let's roll them, see what happens. Maybe I'll get to face down an Aurelion Sol. And we hit fucking Star Chart. Make some sad noises. Y'all want to make some sad noises with me? Alright, Lux, do your thing. We're not going to attack with Lux here, but she is a fairly relevant champion, given that we've got all these wild mysticisms we're looking to drop down here. Here's a homecoming. Okay. What do we got out of these? Probably just pick up Moonglow. What are we doing now? Gonna face up a deny? Sure. Glad to see the denies come down. Like, the Wild Mysticism doesn't really do anything. Like, sure, it puts a 6/6 on the board, but that's not really what our game plan is here. And having the deny taken away when we could potentially pick up a destroy all landmarks is pretty cool. It's pretty sweet. I don't have any complaints in that sense. Let's see if we can hit the cheapest card in our hand again, though. I've mastered Targon's Peak. I have mastered it. Learn from the best. Eventually, we'll get these cheap cards out of our hand, and maybe we'll be able to. Maybe we'll be able to do a little something. Too much RNG, according to Riot. Alright, so that'll take us to 6. Master Yi's doing his thing, sure. Not real worried about that. We do need to worry about not dying just a little bit, but these combats aren't super impressive. Now, the thing we're going to have to kind of start to think of is I think we want to get Lux on board again, and then bank into the mana for a Feel the Rush next turn. Like, I think that's our potential path to victory. I mean, he's getting really close to just OTKing with Ryze, but I think that's probably going to be as close as we can get. This is probably why it's a 30% win rate every time. Every time the true masters come to battle against this stupid deck, they just hit their cheapest cards on all the RNG. And so maybe that was on us. I mean, we could have just played Zoe and not attacked with her, and that would have at least cut away one of those cards that we hit. Like hitting the hitting the star chart was kind of brutal. All right. We're trying, Lux. We're trying. I wonder if we ever just potentially win with Galio. I mean, if we feel the rush and Galio comes down, we attack and get a rally out of it. That's not unreasonable. Nonsense. Okay. Have you all ever been to the website www.haveitall.com? I think that's where this guy hangs out. It's his favorite website in the whole world. Oh my gosh! Oh my god! Did you see what happened? We actually hit Aurelion Sol. Oh my god! Madness. What do we got? We want to hit these supernovas so we can blow up his landmarks next turn. So we did get the one deny. The way this game has gone, I assure you he already has the second copy. But if we can manage to feel the rush here, we might be able to pull something off. Might be able to. Alright. Play some more pointless cards. I feel you. I feel you. Pick yourself up a ramp or pick yourself up a harsh winds. Big decision. Alright. What are the chances of deny, friends? What are the chances of deny? I called it just 100. That's just the way this game's gone. It's the way. It's the way this one's going. Uh-oh, we're digging. All right, draw 3 and now hit it. Uh-oh, we're thinking pretty hard here. We already wasted one. We wasted one. And so here it comes. Oh, sure. Okay, I guess at least Homecoming's not as bad. We can't just immediately redrop the Aurelion Sol. Not a terrible chance of that happening with the Field of Rush. Zoe Galio, so we missed. Well, to a degree, one could say we missed. It's going to depend on what he has in hand. If he has another bounce spell, right? So what we... Oh, is this going to... Oh, no, the spell shield will pop this. Okay. So it's like we get to attack. He has to block Galio or he dies. So if he puts Master Yi in front of Galio, we'll get a rally, then get to attack with Zoe. I don't suspect this is going to happen too frequently. Like, he's going to have things like Rune Prison, Steel Tempest, whatever. But we are presenting a lethal, which is pretty cool. The thing I'm kind of interested in is we need to pop off with this supernova, and are we going to be fast enough? Right? He's canceled our Zoe. I'm gonna say if we can get a star chart out of Zoe, then we might be able to get the celestial that we need to drop a supernova. But at the end of the day, I think we're just going to be too slow here. Yep, he's got the landmark. Okay, GG, I guess. On to the next one. That was fun. I don't know. Oh, man. Oh, man. All right. Alrighty, next battle. I'm curious. So it's like I don't get upset about the Ryze deck. I don't think it's a big plague upon the format or anything. I feel like Runeterra is a game to where it feels like there's always going to be these decks that just win on turn 9. And Ryze is just an iteration of that. I just don't... I just can't figure out who actually has fun playing that deck, though. I feel like that's a different story. In that, are you actually enjoying yourself while you play this? Is this a fun and exciting way to spend your day? I guess some people like it. It's been the most popular deck for a while, but it seems boring as fuck to me. you gotta get me some units on board and let some battles happen or something. We don't call it boring as fuck with bust. We call it battles with bust, you know? So I think that explains everything you need to know. Hey everybody, it's Bust. Boring as fuck with Bust number 310. Welcome aboard. Today we're playing Ryze. What a joke. What a joke. All right, but no attacking here. We're going to be on the defense. We need to find ourselves dropping a She Who Wanders or an It That Stares. We got to keep our bro back. Sure. Say defense, please. You just don't want to be in the spot to where, imagine he has like another Mirai Warden and he's able to get a few more summons out on the board. He could realistically come in and completely fill out his board, and so I'm okay to not get the trade in the previous space there. This might come together kind of okay though. He hasn't done anything particularly relevant. Get the summon on the Mystic. We can recatalyst again and then look to drop She Who Wanders. She Who Wanders not perfectly safe, right? The thing that you can run into is if your opponent does manage to freeze your units, then you, or if they flash freeze your She Who Wanders, then she gets stuck, blowing up herself. But I'm not too worried about it here. I'm a little bit more excited about just dropping this Feel the Rush next turn. Sure. Gotta get all this down before Sejuani comes into play. That would be a little bit unfortunate. Now, the other thing we can look to do on this upcoming turn is if we imagine that our opponent wants to open attack next turn. Shit, we should have attacked the powder keg. That was my bad. But if we imagine that opponent wants to open attack here, we can catalyst the Aeons and then enlighten all of our Feral Mystics. So we have a bit of neat opportunity here to potentially go big. Also, if he tries to just say play Sejuani and then we get to Buried in the Ice, blow up his board, that's pretty big as well. Looks like we might get to make that play. See ya. Getting pretty close to that lethal. I think we can drop the Tavern Keeper, right? Next turn we're going to be at 10 crystals. So we'll play the It That Stares and bank 2, then next turn we can Feel the Rush if we want to. Pretty cool board, right? Pretty cool board. Somebody's out here having fun today. It's not Panic F. He's not enjoying his time and boring as fuck with Bust. All right. GG, my dude. GG. All right, next battle. See, you can't get something cool to happen here. I was really not expecting that last game to go well. Gangplank Sejuani is one of those decks that can really get out in front of you and just blow you up. And then they're even able to stop a lot of your late game stuff if they can get a flipped Sejuani on the board. And so I didn't expect that one to go too well. Now, without expecting that one to go too well, I can most assuredly tell you this is the absolute worst matchup that we can face going up against Annie Jen. This has to be like a 90-10 in their favor without actually being hyperbole. Like, that is just absolute nightmare matchup, especially as we're coming out here with this just like ultra greedy version of the deck, only playing 2 copies of Zoe, 3 AoEs, no Avarosian Sentries. Like, we do not have any of the tools needed to stop Annie Jen. Get some of these 10 drops on board, you know? say, I'm ready for you, Annie Jen. Get some of these 10 drops down. But this is the kind of space to where you could potentially spike a win. To where if you would say play a ramp card on turn 3, we're going to drop the Wild Mysticism. And then in the days of yore, being able to play a Targon's Peak on turn 4. And then, as you can imagine, say on turn 5, you play It That Stares and just wipe out their board, or play She Who Wanders and wipe out literally every single unit in their whole deck. Then you had some opportunities to win those games, but that's not on the table anymore. So here, it's like I almost feel decent attacking. I typically don't recommend it, but he's able to like come into our units for damage. Now, where this starts to be a real pain in the dick is if he has additional stuff like the stuns, right? And so he has the sort of potential to 2-for-1 our units, given that he can play a stun bird on the upcoming turn and then shut down one of our blockers. And so we miss out in that sense, but like we do have some merits in attacking there, right? If he's going to attack us with his Legion Saboteur and we have to block, we're still going to take a point of damage. But if we attack and he blocks, then the damage isn't going to happen. So yeah, here's what we were worried about. I don't think he can lethal us. He's going to have some more stuff. Takes us to 10, 7. He's got like 11 on board. Oh, other stuff's happening. That's unfortunate. Alright, get us right down to decimate range. What is this noise? Got a cat snoring behind me. It's like shaking the whole floor. Oh man. Alright though. Let's see what happens. Magical 4. Get to drop an Ithid stairs. It's like I almost wonder what happens if we just pass here, right? I guess it's not gonna go that well. Let's do it. Let's pass, see what he does. See if we can't get him to play one more card, you know? One more card before we drop the big Ithid stairs. It says, I see what you're up to, Bust. You're up to shenanigans. You're up to shenanigans. We gotta have something go right though. We're not in the space to where we're gonna win this game just playing average. You gotta throw a real curveball out here on occasion just to have a little bit more opportunity. Aight, that's what we needed. Game breaker. Say, ha, got him good, right? You're right. You're right. You got here Nox and Fervor, double Nox and Fervor. Oh, snap. He says, I got you good. I got you good, Bust. Alright, GG. Oh, get this animation out of here. Pushing surrender. I don't want to watch this shit. Okay. We're still in the game, apparently. Let's watch it all, I guess. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed. Alright, though. Next battle. Alright. Interesting stuff. Up against Shyvana Leona. This is one of, or I'm sorry, Shyvana Aurelion Sol. This is one of the real treats you can run into trying to play the Targon's Peak ramp deck. I love it when this turns up to where your opponent is also playing Aurelion Sol, and they have that opportunity just to be like, LOL. You play Targon's Peak, I got the same thing, bro. I got the same choice, the same targets. So we'll see if it turns up here. Got a little bit of ramp. This is otherwise a deck that's, you know, pretty mid-rangey. It's not very good at doing a lot of real early game aggression. You're not. Nobody ever complained about the amount of aggression Herald of Dragons was doing, and so don't have to worry about that too much. Alright, so we get a dude on board. Can't do anything about Shyvana. Womp womp. But got another ramp card for next turn. I think that's okay. Like, we're in this spot to where we could just divergent paths, hope that we hit the Targon's Peak, but we did include Howling Abyss in our deck, so there is a chance that it just goes wrong. Alright, get them Shyvana flips. I like it. I like it. I thought we were going to have Feel the Rush mana next turn. We're only going to be up to 11. Alright, well, let's just go ahead and draw it. Be pretty cool if it only cost 5, right? If either of these only cost 5, get some of that nonsense on the board. not going to happen. I think we're just going to be running out the Ithid stairs. Still get that 3 bank of the mana, so we can, 2 turns from now, play the Feel the Rush. Assuming we don't just die, there's a very real chance that he has like a, what you call it, a concerted strike and gets up to 12 attack. We can like star shaping out of it, but I would ideally be able to Feel the Rush next turn. Right, say he strikes with the Fury onto our Ithid Stairs, attacks with Shyvana, she gets the +2. As foretold. So we're still alive, but it's not nearly as cool. Not nearly as cool. So what do we got in here? Looking towards the Living Legends, it's usually the better one, but I worry if we miss with our Targon's Peak, then we're gonna struggle. Let's see. We should be safe here. Not too many combat tricks I could use to get out of this. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see like the +1/+1 overwhelm thing, but I don't think we have to worry about getting lethaled off of these. The scarier thing would be a rally. We can't do anything about a rally. We're playing a lot of cards, aren't we? We are. And so I really wanted to put Zoe on the board, but I don't think we can. It's just, if we play Zoe and then he's got a Cataclysm, then we just lose the game, right? So I'm going to hold on to her. It's a bit of a bummer, but... Are you kidding me? Oh, that's just the way life goes, huh? That's the way life goes. Wow. Wow. That's why we wanted to get the Zoe on board, but damn, I wasn't really anticipating that to hit. Insane. Alright, well, let's clear out what we can. We're gonna have to Harsh Winds next turn, and so I want to just get rid of anything that's gonna give him width, right? Looks like we didn't hit a single thing, but... You can't make that shit up. You can't make that up. Oh man, what a game. Can't make that up. Sure. Man, not only do we spike a Zoe, but our Targon's Peak connects with his Aurelion Sol. Bonkers. Bonkers. RN Jesus is not with us today. I don't know, man. I think I bought a lottery ticket this morning, and so if I'm a multimillionaire tomorrow, then fucking A. That's I've wasted all the bad luck, right? It only has to be good luck from here. I ought to turn the game off right now, not because I'm upset by any sense of the word, but I don't want to risk hitting any good RNG. I want to save all my good RNG for that lottery ticket. Wow. I can tell you this. This wasn't RNG related, but I played in a game of Team Trivia yesterday. It was a group of 8 or so of us playing in Team Trivia. It was with a charity style of event, so the stakes were real high. I think first place was a medal of some sort and bragging rights and maybe like a $10 gift card to a gas station. So you know the stakes were real high and intense. But this is what really got me. We were going into the last round. We were in first place. The way that this goes is there's like 10 questions around. If you get a question right, you get a point. And so we were ahead by 2 points. And then the team in second place managed to overcome us, even though we got 8 answers right in the final round. And so if you're a regular follower of the channel, you know good and well I am not a master of mathematics. It's not my strong suit, but I feel like if you take 10, that's the number of questions, you subtract 8, that's how many we got right. That means that the maximum point difference should be 2. And if a opponent somehow managed to get more than 2, then shenanigans were afoot. And so they somehow won even through that. And then they also misscored us in a round, so we should have had an extra point along the way. So, kind of is what it is. We weren't the big winners at the end of the day, but felt like we should have been. Felt like we should have been. All right, this is going pretty reasonably, though. He's done a bunch of stuff we don't really care about. We can continue to just ramp. We picked up the second avalanche, which should carry us pretty hard in this space, and so I think we're good to go here. Ooh, a 4/4 Ahri. So, right, we've got either harsh... Well, I guess the only answer we really have at this point here is harsh winds anyways, but we should be able to tie over a couple of rounds. Is it even worth playing at this point? Like, I don't want to lean on our cards like Buried in the Ice, but because he could have denies. I don't feel like we want to remove these. It's like we have all of these big cards to go with our Targon's Peaks. Like, what if we just get Zoe on board? We'll get Targon's Peak on board. And then next turn, we should be able to play 2 big cards. What up, Meduli? Alright, so we hit a Buried in the Ice. So what I would like to see is, like, I'll play the Buried in the Ice. We'll see if he adds more units. We'll see if he has the deny for it. But then next turn, we can also say Harsh Winds along with... Dragon Ambush. We can also Harsh Winds into the She Who Wanders. Maybe. I guess we do have to hit for that to be a thing. But this all still seems reasonable. If he has a deny, he can't play any more cards this turn. Yeah, that's fine. Alright, we got the double peaks, though. Is this Dragon Ambush again, taking us to 1? Oh, Jesus. What are we getting into? I bet we hit the same card. Oh, we didn't do it. We didn't hit the same card with Targon's Peak? What a world to live in. Are we gonna turn the corner at 1? Man, I hope so. Man, I hope so. The unfortunate thing is he's able to just, like, chain off combat tricks at this point, right? So we would have to have Harsh Winds these again to try and get out of it. Alright, we ate some cards out of hand as well. Pretty cool. See what we can do. Don't want Avalanche, so we'll just go ahead and play the free one. See what he does. We can drop Voices of the Old Ones if we want. Takes all of our mana, but I don't think I'm... Are you kidding me? We're gonna have to Harsh Winds the fucking token. Alright, whatever. Whatever. Alright, deck, continue to carry us. He's only got 2 cards left. You gotta feel a little bit better about it, right? Alright, okay, we picked up a Catalyst. Not exactly what I was hoping for, but let's see what happens. It's got to be running out of stuff to do, right? How do we feel about Feel the Rush? I think I just want to Catalyst and pass. That's tough. I don't know. How much can he, like, realistically have left at this point? Famous last words. Famous last words. How much can he realistically have? He's got 3 cards. We gotta fade some more of this dumb stuff. I mean, we've already gotten past the 2 dragon ambushes. So we got spell shields and stuff now.
I'll see all this world has to offer. Ready to run?
Well, that was positive. The most positive thing we've had happen in a while. Alright, let's make it into this next turn. Esmith, beautiful. He didn't play his last card though. It should have been free. I don't think he played any free cards this turn. Alright, fam. I think we're doing it. Oh, the second catalyst has to just lock it down, right? All right. GG. Oof. Hope y'all's was clinching. Hope y'all were squeezing them cheeks. All right, though. Let's get one more game in. One more. We usually do 8. I've lost track of time. I don't know how deep we are into these. I feel like one more gets us in a good space. And so, I hope it's a good one. I hope it's a cool one. Something exciting. Loads of fun. What do we got here? Kale and Garen. Alright. I'm hyped. None of these cards ramp. Need a little bit of ramp for our day. Off we go. Off to the races. One of the things I haven't made mention of as we're out here just drawing Zoes, it's kind of interesting in the sense that one of the cards people have started to play a fair amount of these days is Lysandra. And Lysandra is a little interesting in the sense that she does, once flipped, put the... she puts the tough on you. And so if you're up against Ezreal and you typically can't beat Ezreal because you don't interact fast enough, the tough can carry you through the game, and it stops a lot of their targeted removal. So there are things like Disintegrate aren't nearly as scary. I haven't been super impressed with her, but we've had a fairly awkward run with Zoe today. Makes you start to think about some of the other options. Is this even worth a block at this point? I think it's okay. We can hit the stairs 2 turns from now. So we might get a pretty big clear. Let's just pass and see what happens. We'll probably play Star Shaping, but oh, that was beautiful. He didn't do anything. Did you? Did you see what happened there? Nothing had happened. That was awesome. Absolutely. Okay. So he gets to keep his units, but his attacks are all dog shit now. I dig it. Oh, just nothing? Oh, iRobot boss. I don't know about that. I don't know what your game plan is to win this when you make plays like that. I feel like at that point you're stuck. You're just coming in. Like, you have to say, okay, well, this hit with the It That Stares is going to suck, but I have to deal damage somehow. And like, just not even attempting it there is pretty painful. So, good stuff. Not a bad set of games. We can pull this up and talk about it a little bit more. And so, yeah, in terms of this deck, those games were a little rough. I think our RNG was, a little bit low. We hit pretty poorly across all the games, but it still feels pretty terrible that Targon's Peak costs 6 now. Again, the big and common line you used to have was you'd play that turn 3 ramp card, you would play the turn 4 Targon's Peak, and then on turn 5, you might be able to recover. You could play It That Stares and AoE the board. You could play She Who Wanders and AoE the board. You could hit Aurelion Sol and really power out things from there. But now that you have that kind of gap turn in between, it's real painful in your win rate, in the sense like when we were playing against Annie Jen, and you're like, well, this is a kind of a 10% win rate match. The thing that would take that up to a 20% win rate match were those absurd games that you did that, and it wasn't a very common line, but it was enough to where if you had to play against it on the ladder, you could pull off some wins, or if you're playing against some ultra shitty lineup in best of 3 that had that had Annie Jen and tokens and something like pirates, then you could still spike off a win with a couple of, like 30% win rate matchups and not have your seasonals come crashing to an end. But with this costing 6 mana now, those plays just don't happen. And so as much as I hate it, I think this deck is still kind of just relegated to the lands of the normals. I don't even feel like this is a real best of 3 contender anymore these days. But I think the things to kind of consider should you wish to pursue this deck, I think you have to just think of it in terms of best of 3. And then I think you have to ask yourself, how do I beat Ryze? I think you can do okay in that sense if you really want to kind of dedicate yourself to being good against Ryze, and then including the full sets of things like It That Stares and probably playing more copies of Divergent Paths. And I know that this isn't like the most fantastic way to stop a Ryze, but it gives you those opportunities to just slow them down just a little bit and give you that time to get more of your stuff online. And so, again, I don't think it's ever going to be a particularly strong matchup, but if you can take it from this 30%er that it lists over here on the right and kick that up to like a 45%er, then you have a pretty reasonable deck to consider in best of 3. That 45 to 55% win rate band is what I kind of consider good enough matchups. And so I think you could think of something there. Otherwise, in terms of this lineup, I've never really been happy with the Howling Abyss. I was hoping we got some good memery out of it. It just doesn't tie in with Targon's Peak well enough, and so I think it could most certainly go. And otherwise, I wasn't real upset with anything happening out of this except for the Zoe. And like I've never really been in a space to where I wanted to just play Tryndamere. Tryndamere does kind of the same thing in the late game, but you're typically playing Zoe in the early game so that she can come down and block and be a little bit relevant. I always know in the back of my head we should probably just not attack with Zoe, but I was slipping. I was letting things go, and we really got burned on those star charts today. And so I don't have the answer there. I think she's probably still the champion you're stuck with, but it's certainly not ideal. But nonetheless, I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. And so I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. So this is Bust, and we thank you for being here.